Longmire is such an awesome modern western that fans just can't get enough. It has been completed for a few years and we would love to have another season, but there are still a few secrets from the show that we can look at. Here's the Longmire cast and behind-the-scenes secrets you never knew about. There was a massive fight between two actors on set. Katie Sackhoff, who played Vic, spilled the beans in a podcast interview recently. She was one of the two involved in the fight, and the other actor was Bailey Chase, who played Branch Connolly, and it sounds like a massive all-out scream fest. It sounds like the two actors had a pretty good relationship before all of this went down, because Katie and Bailey drove to work together every day. But according to Katie, she was in a really bad place personally at that stage. Her relationship was a mess and she wasn't really happy in her personal life at all. Plus, she didn't feel the show was giving her character a lot of great moments and stories, so she was a bit frustrated with the material she was getting for that season. And added to that, the entire production was doing really long hours, sometimes even filming straight through the night, right in the middle of winter, so it was cold and Sackhoff was sick, super tired, and just all out miserable. And she admits that she doesn't hide her feelings well, so she was complaining all the way in those car rides that she took to set with Bailey. And she apparently wasn't being much friendlier while on set, and one day Bailey Chase just had enough. He started shouting at her in front of the entire cast and crew, saying that she needed to change her attitude. She admitted that she had a point, but it sounds like even now, years later, the way he did it was still a sore subject. She needed to be called out, but doing it in front of everyone was not cool or even very nice. It took a long time for the two of them to sort things out and get back to a good place in friendship. But it did teach her a lesson and helped her to become a better person and actor. Since then, she has worked hard on having a better attitude when she is lucky enough to have a paid acting gig, and to really work actively towards being happy in any situation that she is in, and making the set that she is in a happy place for the rest of the cast too. I'm glad it taught her a valuable life lesson, and that the two actors could set aside their differences for the duration that the show went on, and could become friends again. The author had loads of input. Normally, when a series is created that was inspired by books, the author of those books doesn't have loads of control over the series and what is done with his material. But Longmire is based on the Walt Longmire mystery series of books by Craig Johnson, and he made sure that he would have a lot of input in the series too. Right from the start, the creators of the show really trusted his opinion and even allowed him to have an input in casting. I mean, it actually makes a lot of sense. Who knows the characters in a book better than the actual writer? No one knows what the picture was when he wrote the characters more than him, so it was very smart allowing him a part in choosing the cast that would play his characters. He looked at some of the little things that the actors brought to the table to see who fit the characters. Like when he saw the audition tape that Robert Taylor sent in, there was one moment where he had lifted his hat that was very much like Walt Longmire, and that sold the actor for Craig Johnson. He also really liked the fact that Lou Diamond Phillips really pronounced his words really well in his audition. The character Henry Standing Bear spoke like that in the books, so it helped him see that he was really well prepared for the character, and that he read the books. So that is what sold Phillips for the character of Henry Standing Bear. Craig Johnson also had one caveat on making the show. Another thing that was really interesting and different from Longmire to other shows that are made out of series of books. Normally, fans of the books, and probably most of the authors too, really want the series to stick as closely to the source material as possible. But for this show, the author wanted them to go in completely the opposite direction. When he was in talks to sell the rights to the show, he had one stipulation. He wanted them to use the characters, and he would be okay for them to use some of the stories in the show. But for most of the series, he wanted them to create completely new stories for the series instead of sticking with the precise order of events. This would allow fans of the books to have some new stories to look forward to with characters that they have already come to love. And the same would go for the fans that the show would build. They would get to know the characters that Craig had created. And then if they wanted more, they could always read the books and go on those journeys with them all. It's a pretty interesting way to go, but it's a pretty good idea, and that the way the fans of the books won't be disappointed if the stories aren't very close to the stories in the books. Lou Diamond Phillips wasn't part of the Cheyenne tribe, but he is now. The incredible actor was such a big part of the show, and his background and heritage was a massive part of the character. He embraced the character so well that it was almost hard to believe that he wasn't of Native American descent. There have been reports that the actor had some Cherokee blood, but he later set the record straight that he does not in fact have any Native American ancestry. But in reality, the actor is from Filipino and Scots-Irish descent, but he really wanted to respect the character that he was going to portray and the people that he was representing. So he did a lot of research into the tribe to make sure that he was doing a really good job in representing their culture and their heritage. He wanted to stay very true to the person that he was playing, and he did a really good job. Soon, he was one of the favorite characters on the show, and for someone who was only supposed to be a side character, he quickly had his own massive following and was promoted to a main character. And it seems like it wasn't just fans of the show that were impressed by his attention to detail and dedication to excellence. The Northern Cheyenne tribe was so impressed with his work that they made him an honorary member of the tribe, a truly major privilege. Walt Longmire is an American. Okay, Walt might be, but the actor who plays him isn't. accent. Robert Taylor, who played Walt Longmire, the Incredible Sheriff, actually is Australian. It's pretty unbelievable if you only knew him as Walt because he really played the character so well. Walt is the typical all-American good old boy that seems to come straight from the old Western movies with heroes like John Wayne. So while it isn't really a secret that Robert Taylor is an American, it sure is surprising. So surprising that the actor has recently said that the people are still shocked when they speak to him in person. It always feels strange when you get to know someone while playing a character with a certain accent, and then when you hear them in real life, they sound completely different. The cast loves to attend a special festival celebrating them. Who wouldn't want to go to an entire festival that is built around the show that you spent years working on? And for the cast of Longmire, this experience is made possible by a special event that is held in Buffalo, Wyoming, and where they go all out to celebrate the show and the books. They have fun runs and loads of activities based on the show, everything from kids games, fishing, and even horse riding events. It sounds like a pretty awesome event that any fan of the show would love to take part in at least once. And what makes it even better is that most of the cast has attended the event at least once. It sounds like a lot of fun. Sadly, the organizers of the festival have had to scale down the event this year, and none of the cast would be able to go because of COVID protocols. But even in these strange times, they're still planning on making appearances by streaming it. But what an incredible experience. It's like having a specially prepared reunion with your friends each year and a bunch of other strangers that just love the work you put your heart in. Why was it canceled? It doesn't happen too many times that your favorite show can be canceled and break your heart, at least not when it happens not once but twice. The show was originally created for A&E, and it quickly became one of the most watched original dramas on the network. They did really well with the show and people loved it, but then suddenly they decided that they would be canceling the show after the third season. It was pretty heartbreaking, especially since the rating was still really good. Rumors later surfaced that the network didn't cancel it because of dropped ratings. Rather, they might have canceled the show because the viewers that were watching the series were an older demographic than they wanted it to be. Luckily for us, Netflix was willing to step in and allow the show to continue on for another 3 seasons until they canceled it too. But this time, it was just probably because they felt that the story had been told and it was time. Fans loved Longmire and their cast, and we love to hear behind-the-scenes facts and secrets, while we still wish for just one more season. Thanks for watching.